Ideas shape the world. They give meaning, direction, and possibility. I'm Willie Pietersen, former CEO, Columbia professor, and author of Leadership: The Inside Story, an exploration of the principles that have shaped my leadership journey. Some ideas last for centuries. Others emerge and redefine how we lead. This is Ideas That Matter.
In taking a look at your the three domains of leadership, personal, interpersonal, and strategic leadership, how do you advise and guide them to begin asking these more difficult questions, to break through the barrier of the politics, the self-interest, where, wait a minute, I can't change this one aspect of the software program because I developed it and it means something to me. So now I have something to protect. How do you break through that in a business setting?
Yeah, well, we have to monitor our own thinking. If we begin to lie to ourselves and deceive ourselves, we're in trouble. So for me, it starts with the domain of personal leadership. And that really answers the broad set of questions about who am I as a leader? What do I stand for as a leader? It's based on deep self-knowledge. It's based on the explicit development of a sound, morally sound set of principles that guide our behavior and inspire others. It's about being authentic, that we actually believe those principles. We don't just talk about them. It's a nice little speech to make. We behave them. We show up every day demonstrating them. And we're transparent. And that makes us somewhat consistent from a point of view of application of principles. People would say about you, I know what Ted's likely to say about this. I know about his approach to it, because his principles are clear to us. You can't really lead consistently without having a very explicit self-knowledge and description for yourself written down, which is the best way to do it, of what you stand for as a leader. And that, for me, is the starting point, the threshold requirement of being an effective leader. And I just slip in here, if I may, that brought me to the Roman philosophers and Marcus Aurelius, who said, you have to develop your own command center. And for me, that's the phraseology I like to use now. You have to have a very clear and explicit command center of your own, your internal command center. So that's the personal leadership. And it answers those questions, And now we come to strategic leadership. Now, strategic leadership has a set of questions. We need to answer really three questions to be able to have a strategic plan. Question one, where do we aim to compete? In which arenas do we aim to compete? Can't compete everywhere. Second is, how will we win the competition for value creation in our chosen arena? And the third question is, what will be our key priorities for success? Now, to enable us to answer those three questions, we have to have a wonderful intelligence system, a situation analysis that explores the external environment and our own realities, again, through a set of questions. But they're all directed at answering those three questions. Those three questions represent the heart of your strategy. Everything that follows that is about implementation. And strategy creation and implementation are interdependent. If we don't have absolutely clear answers to those three questions, we can't hope to implement successfully. And go ahead.
Let me, if I can, just explore then a little bit, if possible.
Sure.
Personal leadership, leading yourself. You were talking about the command center from Marcus Aurelius. And
yes.
What is that command center inside yourself? Is it your belief systems? Is it your emotional patterns that you learn to live through life, maybe unconsciously? What would make up that command center inside yourself?
I guess it's the principles that you live by, would be my short answer to it. the principles that you live by. And I might have mentioned this in a prior discussion with you, but it's an interesting thing how strongly I was informed as a kid by the principles that my father displayed of moral courage, which is one of those principles that I believe in very strongly. It's standing up for the right thing.
Mm-hmm.
And he demonstrated this. He was a station master on the railway system in South Africa, and the Second World War was raging. It had nothing to do with South Africa. It was 6,000 miles away. But he decided to volunteer and enlist to fight on the side of the Allies. And the reason he gave, he was a quiet man, a few words, but steadfast values. And he simply said, when he was asked by my mother, why would you want to do this? And he said simply, because it's the right thing to do. And I noticed throughout his life that he always stood up for the right thing to do, regardless of the consequences. A kind of fearless approach based on his kind of beliefs, but he acted on them. Nelson Mandela was the same. It was a very interesting challenge that he faced. He was convicted in South Africa of sabotage and put in jail in Robben Island off the coast of Cape Town, imprisoned for life. We had this despicable system in South Africa of racial separation called apartheid system, which he had fought against. Eventually, he was released and negotiated against all the odds and against a background of anger and resentment, negotiated a successful transition and a peaceful one to a democratic system. This against all the odds. How did he do that? He was a step back. And while he was in prison, he did something very interesting. For 27 years, he was subjected to abuse and indignity every single day. Now, I think, any normal human being would develop resentments and angers and the kind of a sense I need to, a feeling of retribution. And he realized that he would first have to conquer himself if he asked others to approach the whole process in South Africa as one of reconciliation and forgiveness. You can't turn around to somebody who's been subjected to this kind of indignity, 90% of the population of Black people, 60 million people, 90% of them, and just say to them, I suggest we now just reconcile, build a rainbow nation and forgive each other. You can't just do it like that. First, he had to conquer himself. And he did this successfully. He learned their language as a first thing to illustrate that he was prepared to think about the world in their terms as well. And he said, if you speak to a person in a language he understands, it will go to his head. If you speak to him in his language, it will go to his heart. Now, these are concepts, beliefs, principles that he developed through conscious thought. And then he was able to successfully negotiate this peaceful transition. And as I step back and look at this majestic achievement that I think, has not been repeated, I think, in history, certainly not many times. The most striking part of it was the development of a clear set of personal principles that he fearlessly lived by without making great speeches about them. He just believed it and he did it. Hi, I'm Willie Pietersen. Leadership is not about wielding power. It's about authenticity and inspiring others to achieve a shared purpose. Excelling as a leader is a continuous journey of pursuing ideas that matter as the environment shifts and new challenges emerge. Thank you for watching. Please share your ideas by leaving your comments below. We learn best when we learn together. And if you've enjoyed this discussion, I invite you to subscribe to the channel. Thank you again.
Quick break from the conversation, because this might be the most important invitation you get all year. Are you leading people through change right now? Rolling out strategy? Launching new tech? Or just trying to keep up with the speed of AI? Then don't miss our upcoming GuideWise workshop, Execution or Extinction: How to Lead Change in the Age of AI. 72% of change efforts fail, not because of bad strategy, but because of hidden resistance. You can't fix what you can't see, and that's where we come in. This workshop will give you the tools to overcome people resistance, diagnose belief and behavior breakdowns, and drive adoption with speed, clarity, and confidence. You'll walk away with a 90-day implementation roadmap and the career skill that separates leaders who thrive from those who get left behind. Seats are limited. Click the link in the description to join the waitlist and be the first to know when registration opens. And as a courtesy to our community of implementers, we've waived the admission fee. Just use the promo code IMPLEMENT when you sign up. Now, back to the discussion.